So we're starting a new tradition here for the season finale. Because we're going to be doing big old boys.
Oh my god.
Big old boys. I'm a suburban white boy, and this is where the wave's at now.
Okay.
But man, yeah, no, this is going to be a treasure trove for you.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, we won't go ham on you from the start. We'll just get you warmed up. I'm just gonna use my hands to wave. And again, okay, so that's how you know it's good too. It's shattered. So it's not globbing at all. It's just fucking glass.
Big old tanky.
No, we don't like tankies here. We're not about that life. The season finale.
More than mild.
This is your third choice, and
B-17 bomber.
this is
More than mild.
we shoot the shit that needs to be shot.
It's irreverent, relevant commentary.
Are we gonna bleep it? I think we should start bleeping it.
Should start bleeping swears.
Maybe do the tone up and down thing that Eminem did, where it's like, I don't give a flying, you know?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, there's like record scratch, man, back in the day,
Yes.
disc jockeys.
I can do that.
You can disc jockey, that's lovely.
Some samurai shampoo shit.
I like that, that's very, very good.
Yes.
So, would you say that that makes you a real black person, or what makes
I think what makes me a real black person is that my mama don't play that shit. And she also happens to be blacker than Wesley Snipes' neck.
Oh,
That's okay. I know I'm black because she calls me a high yellow bastard. You know you're light skinned when your mama calls you a high yellow bastard.
so, like, I was recently seeing you got in a bit of a tussle with somebody on the internet, because they told you weren't black anymore.
I have been told I am not a real black person by so many black people this month, and I don't understand why. As far as I know, I've been alive and black.
You know, in our high school, you were pretty noticeably black.
Ah, see, that's where it gets different. That's interesting.
There
that you
were
bring
like
that up.
one of 12
Black people, right? But you know, when you grow up in a town where it's all white people, you know, well, okay, let's give Barrett to some credit. Mostly white people.
Yeah, and I mean,
Mostly, not all.
The high school draws from Carpentersville a lot.
Yeah, so it's not fair.
Carpentersville.
That's not fair.
And a good amount of it's like Hoffman, which is white, but at least not Barrington white.
Right, exactly. So you get some white, but you know, blacks and light skins were the oddities. But then you go to the inner city, and I'm all these, you know, yellow bones and red bones, and
Man, oh man.
which is not too bad. Because you know, among black people, let me tell you something, white people, black people will give a run for your money when it comes to political incorrectness. Because let me tell you something, a lot of black people I know don't fuck with gays. Let's tell it how it is. They don't fuck with gays. They don't fuck with whites, obviously.
Shit.
They don't fuck with whites, obviously, but still, black people are like, oh no, bro, that's some mook shit. That's some suspect. That's some suspect ass shit you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're dressing like a female. You're singing like Lil Uzi Vert. You're crying like, you know, like it'd be like that. And you know, there's. I guess what I'm saying is there's toxic masculinity in all races. Mm-hmm. But I digress. I don't know why any of that makes me less of a black person than, say, someone in the inner city. It's because of this old, admittedly white-born mentality that blackness is how you act. black people act uncivilized. Black people are loud. Black people are ignorant. These are things that are instilled from white people. And it's very rare to say, and one of my friends told it to me best. He actually is, you know, he leans to the more nationalist black side, but, you know, not necessarily ethno-nationalism, just kind of like you were saying, just like normal nationalism.
I mean, this is edgy, but there's a country called Liberia, and it was set up for just that purpose.
Right.
And all the Northerners were like, yeah, that's what's right. Don't get rid of slavery. They don't even want to be here.
Right.
Let's send them to Liberia, give them a similar flag, and a bunch of money.
Yes.
And, you know, decent ally for a while when we had no allies. Us in Liberia hanging out. They're still a country.
Yeah, they are.
One of the better places to live in Africa.
Yeah. From what I hear, it's not too bad. Again, you know, I don't think blackness is a symbol of money. Jay-Z's fucking rich.
Yeah.
And somehow it's still the blackest nigga everybody knows. Like, so because I grew up in the suburbs, I'm considered not as black. I was told at my restaurant, I'm not one of these suburban niggas, I'm a real nigga. I'll come over there. Just cause his girlfriend didn't like his food. Well, I didn't like his girlfriend's weave. It was lime green. It looks tacky. Ooh, I don't give a shit. Cause I'm gonna put on for the black people in the season finale. Cause we're gonna start telling it how it is in 2019. And I don't care if it makes niggas look bad, do better. I definitely don't care if it makes white people look bad.
Yeah,
y'all especially gotta do better. White people, Asians, but I don't want to get into that this episode. Y'all can do better. Y'all could do better.
Well, I think everybody's fucking imperfect. And I heard a really good argument. It was in a very intersectional argument, actually. I really liked it. Which is rare. I really hate most intersectionality, but this was a decent thing. And it was, and I'll put it to you this way. Do you think that part of the reason why sort of for both the extent of what slavery is, or not slavery, what racism is in America, and also sort of the ethnic fighting of what we broadly define as African American, comes from the fact that because slavery was so harsh, because the triangle trade slavery was so harsh and separating and all that, that we totally robbed all those people of their history. We beat it out of them after a few generations. So all you got left as sort of, you know, your collective ethnic mentality, because there are these things in America. America's much like Chicago. We you know, it's a city of towns, and our country for a long time and still today is ethnically separated in a lot of ways still, but I mean, people hang out with people that are similar to them. Mm-hmm. This is a fact of life. It often produces racism, and that's bad. Mm-hmm. But do you think that a lot of the problems with specifically African American inter-racism and white racism against African Americans comes from the fact that really there's no micro differences to draw between them like there is with white people, where there's like, oh, there's the Irish, there's the Italians, there's all this. So they're allowed to have these different diverse backgrounds, whereas African Americans are seen to only be able to have this African American background and not any background from a previous heritage. Like when you walk by white people, are you like, look at that Norse looking motherfucker, versus like, ooh, a Spanish man? Like, or is it just sort of like, white guy?
Me personally, I can see differences, but that's only because I'm a mutt. Like, I'm black and Cuban, which we'll get into this another time. That just pretty much means I'm black. They got off the slave ship early. Anyway, that's the longest story short.
Dark Cuban.
Yeah, exactly. You go to Cubans, you go to Cuba, they're all fucking dark, but
They are mutts.
yeah, and they are mutts, kind of like me.
Damn proud of that, but like
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, and like we were talking about like what nationalism means earlier. We never finished that, so I hope we can get there
Yeah.
again. Because the thing is, I've also been told recently that I'm like not like white and shit like that because of my just anti-ethno-nationalism.
Right.
It's just very basic stuff. Like I expect you to not be a Nazi, and you should expect me to not be a Nazi. I should expect you to not be like genocidal black nationalist.
Right.
Like you can expect a certain amount of decorum in America still, and it's typically not hurting each other. And then you have people who we legitimize, like AOC, primary their way into power, who say, punch a Nazi, punch first, violence is speech, and speech is violence.
Look at me, I'm from Brooklyn.
Kind of. And they control the narrative and make it sound like that's totally okay. But no, in this country, you typically don't hurt people because they disagree with you.
Right.
Because we like people disagreeing with each other here. That's what makes us. That you can do that and that no one kills you for it. But apparently that needs to change or we're not good enough, so says some. But so says the radical left and the radical right. Because, when Christchurch happened, I was, 2 weeks deep into just being a dick to a meme page that I thought was pretty funny because they were posting really edgy shit.
Yeah.
And then it turned out, like, I started watching more of their stuff that wasn't just like the ones that I actually saw because of the algorithms. And they posted some very racist things. Just blatantly, like, black people, like, them throwing garbage everywhere and the white people clean up for them. Like, wow.
Is that edgy? That doesn't sound like
That's
satire.
not edgy, that's just racism.
Yeah, that doesn't sound
There's
like
some
satire.
things that, no, that's not. There's some of the things I liked because I thought it was like kind of racist, edgy satire.
Right.
But no, it's just blatant, like, I believe this. And literally, I was in the middle of just typing like I've said, like, how big was Tyrone's dick when he fucked your wife kind of content. Just like, hey, fuck you kind of thing. And sometimes I talk to them, like, even before Christchurch, about, like, hey, you're professing to be a Christian, and I'm a Christian, and that's not okay. And so I'm going to tell you what's wrong with the things you're saying based on the Bible. Here's some verses. Because I think that is my duty to do that. If I am a Christian and I'm going to be doing this, I shouldn't just be wasting my time, even though this was a waste of time, maybe pearls before swine, whatever. But they're professing to be Christians, and I should cover them in love first, so says the book. So, that. But then, after a certain amount of time, you're a cuck. Why are you such a cuck? You stupid fucking cuck.
Cuck, right.
Fuck. It was 3 days after Christchurch until they said something, and they immediately called it a false flag. So I'm still, like, mad at them, but they were like, yeah, like, you're just a drone of the Jew, essentially. Like, yeah, you've just been co-opted by the Jew thoughts.
Oh.
And that's quite literally how they refer to these things. So, like,
Jew thoughts.
No, that isn't verbatim. But, they might throw parentheses at me and
you!
Yeah, like, I get what they're doing, and that's not hard to do. Like, if you exist in this part of the internet, like, hell, that's a joke that I've done about myself before. Like,
That's not even a new meme.
Yeah,
that's not even fresh.
It's old, exactly. And I don't know, like, I shudder to use it just because I'm online, and like, I don't know, you can find out who I am if you try really hard. Even like my most detached shit, you can find some portal that'll connect me.
That'll open it up, yeah.
Yeah, and I can never say that, and I'm kind of okay with it. I'm okay with one day something happening and things getting out. But, it would take time and money. I don't think anybody wants to do that yet.
Yeah, no.
But no, yeah. So I really like going to these edgy places, and when I found, like, I don't know, like, because there'd be people who also followed it like me, who would just be like, yeah, I agree, this guy's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, some of the memes are funny, and it's hard to find these really edgy, funny memes if they're not made by Nazis sometimes. Or at least shared by them. Nazis find pretty deep memes.
Yeah.
But some of the joke is making fun of the Nazis while you're there.
Right.
That's a niche market meme. Making fun of Nazis while you're on their meme pages.
Yes, that's fresh.
Yeah, that's fresh.
Assange's apprehension and also anus?
The weird Mr. Assange. Judy time! Very good. Very good. Snark!
Oh. Okay.
Ooh.
All right, Mr. Skywalker. Papa owes you a brand new hand. He has a very distinctive look to him. I liken it to Steve Jobs. When you think of Steve Jobs, you think of New Balances, a simple pair of jeans, and a black turtleneck. When you see Julian Assange, you think, good God, that man is pale. That man is pale and has a pale Donald Trump hair. And now a weird beard.
Well, yeah, because, like, you see the old pictures of him. Like, this is like an anime-looking fuck. This guy was like 40 years old and sporting pure white hair.
Yes.
Like, not, like, blonde.
No.
Just white. Just pure white. And he wasn't balding. And like a clean-shaven face, and he was cute, and he had blue eyes. He must be some kind of albino or something, but he looked like the fucking weirdo in I don't know, the Death Note anime.
Yes, I'm not too familiar with that one, but I do know who you're talking about.
He looks like the gay lord that sits on shit like this all the time.
Yeah, that's exactly who I know him from.
God, but look at him though. Look at the difference between who the man was and who he is now.
Yeah, he looks like an albino Servius Snape, and now he just kind of looks like albino Saddam Hussein.
Like, he went from like kind of a babe to like.
Ew.
Yeah.
He was senpai.
Yeah.
He was senpai.
He was
Assange-san.
Julian senpai. Or what's a Judy-chan! Judy-chan! Julian Assange is the editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks has, over the years, released classified documents and internal documents from bank frauds, money laundering things. They've released information on what Russian spies are doing. They release information on, a lot of the time, large leaks. But then again, no, just one from a couple of people, Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning, have had two giant leaks against what the U.S. is doing, and two very important ones. Snowden's was about NSA metadata spying, and also importantly, it released that there is full capture spying on everyone in England for what they do on the internet, because the tubes go through ours and we have a specific treaty that allows us to do that. These are very terrifying things, and especially for the English, who in turn now can't even say anything on the internet without going to jail, so long as the police think that someone might be offended. in terms of Count Dankula, no one even complained.
Right.
So, they were important there, and with the leaks of Chelsea Manning, the war files, the Iraq and Afghanistan war files. I mean, the video, like I showed you, on collateral murder, it's even the short one. It's kind of breathtaking what we do and what we had called it, and it's very good that it came out. But like I said, and I hope that it's in there somewhere because we tangent far too much, Julian Assange is kind of a dick. He's not a rapist.
No.
That's not even what he's being accused of, which is wild. That was one of the things that I wanted to bring up.
Yes.
Just how we'll handle our points, I guess.
No, that's fine. He was accused of, he was falsely made out to be a rapist in the media.
Yeah, like if you Google the sex crimes of Julian Assange, which admittedly factually, there are allegations.
Yeah.
They are old. They are no longer relevant, and the case is no longer open in Sweden. But they are from Sweden, where women are claiming that he had sex with them without a condom, while saying that he did not have STDs, and they claim that he did. And yeah, by Sweden's very, very, very loose definition of what rape is, that falls under that kind of crime.
Okay.
And so because of that, you can technically say the rape allegations of Julian Assange. And you can get away with that. And Fox has, and it dominates the Google search.
Of course it does.
But, yeah, just go to Wikipedia.
So basically,
Yeah.
his sex crimes were having sex with a woman, two or three women, which we Americans so affectionately like to refer to as raw dog, but having an STD and not telling them about it.
And they really want him to get tested.
Right, and he won't do it.
Yeah, because he's a fucking dick.
So by American standards, yes, he is not a rapist. But that doesn't suggest he's not a fucking horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what horrible people do. They fuck people without a condom and have an STD and not tell them. But by American standards, not necessarily a rapist.
So,
A definite scumbag.
Yeah, definite scumbag, and like, and like you said, the anus of Julian Assange. Like, I mean, it almost robs the conversation of its seriousness. But it must be talked about, I guess.
Okay.
Because the president of Ecuador is saying it.
This is one of my big questions for this little topic we got going on here. Do you think that he smeared his fecal matter all over the walls of the embassy? I've got some sub-questions to this. If he did smear the feces on the wall, did he shit in his hand to smear the feces on the wall? Or did he,
like, do it more tactically, like trying not to get himself dirty, like using toilet paper or something?
Yeah, like he just like, or here's my, and I hope this one is true. Do you think he just with his pants around his ankles, just shitty ass, just stamped it on the walls and just left like a capital I print?
Oh my god. Holy shit. God, I gotta believe that little, like, anemic looking ass did something real tactical about it if he did it. There's some claims that come up from the same kind of sources that you gotta look to find some of this stuff, and I should give him credit, but I don't know enough about stuff like the Mint Press News. I don't know enough about it.
But I'm glad that you sourced it. So the Mint Press News, we'll check into it.
They've. I mean, this is a true. Like the thing I'm going to bring up by them is true. The other claim I don't know though. But their claim is that the Ecuadorian president's claim that he speared shit on the walls was fabricated.
Okay.
And I don't know what their sourcing for that is. One of the stories that I want to bring up is by the press news. Leaked WikiLeaks doc reveals U.S. Military use of IMF World Bank as unconventional weapons.
That is actually literally my next question. So go ahead, run it on that. I gotta know what you think about the timing of all of this.
Well, clearly, yeah. I mean, I've talked to some smart people, I guess, in my family, and maybe I'm biased, but I think they're very intelligent. Who have said that's not even a conspiracy. It seems intentional. So to dive deeper into that and to not bury our lead, it seems pretty obvious that the IMF, as being used by sort of the US or whoever in conjunction with them controls it, to bribe Ecuador into giving Assange up.
Right.
And that sort of taints anything that they say. And even though that makes me seem like I'm defending Assange quite a bit from claims as serious and as trivial as smearing shit on walls, I mean, the absurdity of both sides is just so retarded that, I mean, this doesn't seem real. Like, this is one of those things that's just so ridiculous. Like, the WikiLeaks, so the story is that WikiLeaks, like, a while ago, wait, no, so not too long ago, but in January, we're talking about, we're talking about how the IMF, based on WikiLeaks documents, WikiLeaks released a U.S. Special Operators Manual, and that might not be in this story, but that refers to the IMF as something which is used as a tool, along with like the World Bank, to pressure things that we need to be done with money. And that, you know, and then the IMF just goes, all right, I guess we're outed, and just fucking pays up on Ecuador $4.2 billion within 10 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Of Julian Assange being dropped. And within that time of 10 hours, Julian Assange was convicted for skipping bail in England for when he was supposed to be extradited to Sweden for these quote-unquote rape allegations.
Right.
His fear at the time was that they would extradite him from Sweden to the U.S., and he was just looking for assurance that that wouldn't happen. Sweden never gave it. And then England arrested him for that just now because the U.S. served them an extradition warrant at the same time that Ecuador got rid of Julian Assange's asylum in their embassy in London, which he had been hiding out in for the last 6+ 1.8 years.
Right.
So, is it even spicy to say that that isn't exactly what happened?
I mean, it seems like it's exactly what happened.
I mean, like, am I being a conspiracy theorist? Because, I mean, but at the same time, then on the other end of it, he smeared shit on the walls.
Yeah,
like holy shit, what if it's true? Like, I mean, he's a dick. Like, I don't know, I don't distrust the women because that's an obvious pitfall. Like, you know that you're too much of a Julian Assange fanboy when you're making exceptions for anybody. I mean, you're too much of a fanboy of anybody if you're making exceptions for them before you're hearing the facts of a rape case.
Right.
Even if it's just quote-unquote rape.
Right.
But, that's why I looked into whether or not it was rape, and it wasn't technically what we would consider rape. Whether he did it or not, I mean, that's still up in the air, and I guess innocent until proven guilty, but, I don't know, it's like 2 or 3 women that were like, yeah, I don't know, kind of got messy around then.
Probably from Julian Assange, because he's a fucking pirate.
We all have it now, and same one, so, I don't know, like, hero worship's always bad.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, people are bad. But we're also good, so look up to the good thing that we do. Like, for example, you know, his leaks led to whatever giant baking scandal was thwarted in 2018. Where, like, all those companies had money offshore somewhere in the Caribbean or whatever.
I remember that.
So, I mean, he does a lot of good for the world. And even specifically the things that we're going to call, quote-unquote, treason, even though he's an
he's not even
he's an Australian citizen. And sort of just a non-citizen or just hated by everyone now. Which sucks, because, I mean, bad guy, but not doing what people are saying he's doing. I mean, there's rumors that Hillary Clinton quite literally joked about droning him to death in the embassy. And that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get anyone killed. The U.S. said he could have because he's a dick. He did not redact as much as he should have, and he put a lot of U.S. agents and collaborators at risk. And we barely got all of them out in time, and no one died.
Right.
Which is great, but like 700 people or something. We had to
get them all
out of where they were in like a day. I mean, awesome, well done, but. You know, we wouldn't have had to do that, and those assets would have still been good had it not for Chelsea and Manning leaked that much.
Right.
Julian Assange, maybe, as he is charged in the U.S. with, this is the extradition order, he's charged with conspiracy to hack a U.S. government computer with Chelsea and Manning. And Chelsea and Manning is actually back in prison for refusing, in the last month, refusing to testify against Manning. So this has all been coming for
against Assange?
against Assange.
Right.
This has all been coming for the last month.
Right.
So it's all lining up. And, where's my red string? Where's my tinfoil hat? But like,
oh, and Donald Trump all of a sudden disavowed, like,
I don't know, WikiLeaks.
like after like every
They looked so scared. It was like the first time he'd been asked to say a line since The Apprentice.
Right.
I don't know anything about WikiLeaks.
Yeah, man. No, Donald Trump just like, God, I love this WikiLeaks, and then
Yeah, there was one that I saw something on the news that was like a list of all the different times that he said he loved WikiLeaks.
God, I have it. Yeah, October 10th, 2016 in Pennsylvania. This just came out. WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. 2 days later. This WikiLeaks stuff is unbelievable. It tells you the inner heart. You gotta read it. October 13th, 2016, the next day. It's been amazing what's coming out on WikiLeaks. Halloween 2016, another one came in today. This WikiLeaks stuff is like a treasure trove. God, I love WikiLeaks. 2019, I don't,
Never heard of him.
never.
I wasn't in that building.
That was, nope.
Wasn't
What
me.
big restaurant?
Wasn't me. Fucking Shaggy. President fucking Shaggy up in this bitch. We saw you banging on the sofa.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Google's naughty list.
Blacklisting or fictitious fabrications. Google! Gay! Bagel? Google, how about go away?
So we have an article here from the American Spectator themselves, the people who themselves were banned by Google themselves on a blacklist. Is the Google blacklisting of the American Spectator. Jeffrey Lord. Oh man, you're old school, dude. Yeah, this is one of their big ways.
Apparently, Google wants to protect the American people from our polysyllabic words and occasional long sentences, and in the course of doing so, they lied to Congress. And we may be looking into them in the near future. So spoke R. Emmett Tyrell Jr. on learning that the American Spectator had been blacklisted by Google. Bob Tyrell is the founder of the now 52-year-old conservative magazine that is well in the mainstream of center-right Reagan conservative thought. It has, over the decades, been home to prominent conservative writers who have gone on to journalism.
So that's just, I think it'll play the whole thing. But okay, so what do they'll be able to pull it off against Google, the fucking monolith of information?
So you're asking me if I think that they'll take this to court? Of course they're going to take it to court.
Well, and they're at least going to investigate and keep publishing. So it's definitely a story to watch.
Yes.
And we'll post in the description all the stories they have on it.
That it's developing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but I definitely think that they're. The question is, do you think they'll win?
So it's saying that they said that Google testified in front of Congress a week after their evidence.
Right.
That they don't manually do things to change the search results or whatever.
Right, that's what I was.
So they're narrowly getting around it, and I don't know, and I think that's why they're going the reporting route, because I think Google has covered their ass legally.
Right. But that's why you say that, they've been lied to Congress, right?
They're gonna try and figure it out. Maybe that they can
Something's
figure
going
out the
on.
wording there, because both sides are just playing with words at this point.
Right.
And the intent is clear.
Right.
That's especially if it is just conservative sites.
Yes, the intent is obviously.
Because Vox has printed blatant falsehoods.
Yes.
The Wall Street Journal has printed blatant falsehoods about PewDiePie. Oh yeah. So do you think this validates using the dark web? Because if the real internet won't give you real shit, does this mean that maybe people should start switching over to the dark web for just everyday fucking use?
That's a great question. I obviously am.
And do you think that, then normal sites should start having copies of themselves on the dark web, just to have there?
Because if that's how you're getting there, then...
Well, I think we see more, I think from just this wild year we've been having, just wild couple years we've been having, speaking of internet security, we would see more people go into the dark web, but then it's a double-edged
Shout out NSA, shout out Eternal Blue,
Exactly.
shout out Zero Day,
Right.
shout out the shadow brokers for telling us all it happened. On the white net too, fucking out in the open, and just selling it out in the open.
Of course. No, that's the kind of just like brings up my point. We can
Google's naughty list. Shout out the shadow brokers.
Google's naughty list. We're not. Ooh, you think the alphabet agencies are listening?
I hope. If you are, suck me dry, Daddy. Hey, we have another topic. This last one. It's the one that's
PewDiePie.
Get it? Because like PewDiePie,
But it's live. You
Yeah.
see, we did a thing. I don't know if you know, but like we're kind of funny guys. PewDiePie.
man.
See, I don't know if you understand the joke, but it's kind of humorous because his name is PewDiePie.
He's a horse and he has a long face.
Well, yeah, his horse here is PewDiePie. But you know,
Did you know that his middle name is Arvid Oof?
Arvid Oof?
Arvid Oof.
I don't know. Sounds kind of Hitlery.
Kind of right. Also, you know, his last name's pronounced Shellberg, even though it's KJ. What a wild thing that Swedes do.
Yeah. Like Nazism, because he's a racist too.
Clearly. And so is all cryptocurrency, and I'm sure that connection's only going to be made more by terrible journalists at Vox and Gizmodo and whatever. Bitcoin boy! Bitcoin boy! Oh my god! Too edgy!
Okay. Alright, sorry.
No, we leave it in.
Bitcoin boy. You can be my Bitcoin toy.
Yeah.
Bitcoin boy.
Run like government. Anyway. Ooh, I like that. Forbes only gets it wrong half the time. Forbes.
Billy Bambro. Bad boy.
Sometimes.
Bad boy Billy Bambro.
Oh yeah.
PewDiePie, one of the world's biggest internet stars and longtime holder of the most subscribed YouTube channel, has signed an exclusive deal with blockchain streaming service platform dLive, edging PewDiePie closer to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as his fractious relationship with mainstream services and media continues. dLive, a decentralized network for live streaming videos where content providers and consumers are rewarded with cryptocurrency called Lino. It's the same shit.
Service guarantees citizenship.
That actually answered my first question, which I had for you, which what was the terms of service of dLive? It sounds like it's a platform.
It's citizenship. No,
It sounds like a platform that bases its cryptocurrency around whether or not people follow each other or
yes,
other
which
viewers.
I guess would increase the value of their company.
Dramatically.
So it's maybe the cryptocurrency based on how notable dLive is. And like the stock price, essentially. It would be like,
Which is
notable. Really disruptive. Can you imagine if that took the place of stocks in some way?
like cryptocurrency, it'd be impossible to like track it. You could just be trading stocks. It's like fucking anarcho-capitalism for
internet cash.
Well, for support. I don't know. For usage, for whatever. I don't know. It's neat.
Free market crypto.
Yeet, yeet, yeet. I find that neat.
Is kids the anti-hero that we don't deserve for doing this?
We absolutely don't deserve him. I mean, he's getting treated like an absolute fucking pariah. He's getting treated quite literally like a Nazi. They made him out to be one. And I mean, he's not even memeing on it. Like, Count Dankula memes on it. Count Dankula will still do everything that is associated with Nazism just to troll on you. But it's stuff like the fucking okay hand sign. Of course, it's not Nazism. But that's one of his merch things, and I want to get that merch. It just says it's okay to be edgy as the okay hand sign. And it is okay to be edgy. It's okay to throw up the okay hand sign. It doesn't mean white power. It does to some people. But I don't know. Also, if you wear like a woolen tabard, like if you wear like a tablet weaved belt,
Yeah.
in an attempt to dress up in like dark age, like true to historic dress, and there's the old style swastika on there. That's not fucking racist. There just was a lot of that.
Yeah.
They really liked tablet weaving swastikas. It's kind of hard to do. It's kind of a neat pattern. And white supremacy hadn't been invented because everyone was too busy raping and killing each other if they lived on the wrong side of a couple trees that they thought were gods. Like, it was a weird time period, and it was kind of neat. Yeet, yeet, yeet. That was neat. He sent it out. That's the tweet.
Man's got bars. Are you hearing him? This man's got bars.
I tweet in my sleep. Anyway.
I just keep listening. Like a 13-year-old boy.
It's from all the heat in the sheet. Because of the feet that I keep.
In my dreams.
Send tweet. Oof. Anyway,
I'm Lil B, tweet me some toes. Tweet me some goddamn feet, I'm Lil B. With my ass, and I'm a
lime green. Fiending for the teen toes.
Oh god.
While I'm drinking all these Tito's.
Cheetos, Doritos, Fritos.
Lico. Anyway, what the fuck are we talking about? dLive still?
Yes.
Okay. So is he the anti-hero we don't deserve? We obviously don't deserve him, like I said. But I mean, who are we? Because I mean, he gets more viewers than these websites do. I mean, he's doing better than their views.
Yeah.
The fact that he's not getting their money, really, because he's not getting donors, but he's getting money because he's earning. I mean, so who fucking cares? I mean, they're losing this battle, and they're only showing off their own insignificance and stupidity. Because the more that they do this, the more people look into what they say. And that turns regular PewDiePie viewers into people who, you know, red pills, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that turns people who would have just wondered why the fuck is PewDiePie over here now. I figured he hates YouTube into what's cryptocurrency.
Yep.
And I don't know, I think he knows that.
Of course he does. Of course he does. Yeah, the man's a monster.
And so, do you think he's doing this on purpose?
Do I think that he's doing this on purpose? Oh yeah, I think he's doing this on purpose.
And knows what he's doing. And knows what he's doing.
Of course. Well, okay.
Okay. Envision this. Chancellor, or whatever, if the Germans get their way, of the European Union, Felix Arvedulf Schellberg.
So you think he's gonna run too?
No, not yet. But what if when he's like 50, he's like, I've seen a lot.
Yes. Why not? Would you vote for him?
I'd vote for him, yeah. I'd vote for him at that point. If he was like a hard-weathered man. Hey man, he's a mature dude. A guy who can go from not really drinking to sort of developing a habit for whiskey and disliking that and it being alcoholism and not liking that and moving away from it to totally not drinking before 30 that's kind of mature.
A little mature, yeah.
I don't know. And he seems very responsible with the power that he has. And he's done a lot more good than some harm.
This is your third choice and B-17 bomber. This is more than mild.
That's what they.
Did you see for European traps talking? Want to see the video? This is all I have for you. And after that, by the way, if you're a journalist and you're seeking comment, I hope you have a brain aneurysm soon, you Nazi cunt.
Wow.
Kicking in dope for kilos, not no motherfucking petty cross. Kicking in dope for kilos, not no motherfucking petty cross. Kicking in dope for kilos, not no motherfucking petty cross. Kicking in dope for kilos, not no motherfucking petty cross. Kicking in dope for kilos, not no motherfucking. Kicking in dope for